Good morning, everyone. This is Claire from Queenslake. I had to do a little intro with these silly hammy horses behind me. They are running up a storm in that pasture, just kicking up their heels, having a great old time. Look at these get. They are hilarious. We just had a new horse put in the pasture next door to them, and they are just itching to get to meet this new neighbor. Anyway, so today we are going to be planting up my vegetable garden finally. I had a kitchen vegetable garden that's right by the house. It looked like it when I moved in. First of all, it had weeds 6 feet tall. It had a lot of stinging nettle in it, and that was a bugger to get out. That was a lot of fun. I learned about stinging nettle because I didn't know about it before then. Definitely learned about it pretty quickly. Anyway, so there's a lot of stinging nettle and other weeds in there, and I've been weeding it religiously every couple, I think we finally got the weeds under control. However, last year, my vegetables in there really were horrible. So even though the soil in there looked really, really good loamy soil, it was really bad. We barely had any fruits on our tomatoes. The zucchinis, wait a second, the zucchinis went crazy in there. They absolutely went bonkers. I had 1 or 2 every day, and they would grow to a certain level. They'd be almost ready to pick. I'd go out there like a day or two later and they were like way too big. I can't believe how much they grew within 1 day. Anyway, so I've asked that our farm workers went over to our manure pile, our compost and manure pile, and they just went and took the tractor over there and got me a whole bunch of new compost to put in there. So it's nice and fresh. I don't have to use any chemicals. Probably will have a little bit of weed issue again, but that's fine. I'd rather be digging out weeds than be using Roundup in my vegetable garden. Anyway, so today we're going to be planting up all the seeds that I planted over, I probably started about March 15th planting some of these seeds. And I've just been repotting them, upsize potting them in the greenhouse, and they've been waiting and waiting. Finally, last week we had that great big huge late frost that pretty much most of the eastern part of the country got. And that's over and done with. We have rain for like the next 7 to 10 days. So this is one day that it's reasonably sunshiny. So I'm going to try to get these guys in the ground before it gets too late. And also, my husband he met he's a nursery owner, and they traded out some fishing for some more vegetables, which is good because I have to say, some of the seeds that I planted did not come up. All my eggplants, I think I only had 3 of them come up. So I'm sure this guy's plants are a little bit healthier than those ones that I planted just about a month ago. I don't know why they weren't growing. Yeah, the zucchini, I finally got some to grow up. What else? It was so hot in the greenhouse, even though it was cold outside, it was so hot in the greenhouse that all the spinach and cabbage that I planted has already bolted. And it was baby stuff. So I was a little bit disappointed that I lost out on a lot of that. But anyway, so I'll show you what we're going to be planting. And I'm so happy to have some new good fresh soil in there, and I'll be putting some fertilizer in there as well. So hopefully we have a good harvest this year. And this is going to be only our kitchen garden area, and any leftovers that I have I'm going to be planting in our back garden, which is way at the very back of the property. It's all vegetables back there, all fruits and vegetables. And I find fruits and vegetables are kind of ugly, so I like to keep them a little bit hidden. And then we'll only have flower beds up around where everybody's growing, or where everybody's driving around the property. Anyway, here's a little tour of the garden. So here we go. We had so the original parts of the garden were this part and that part. The previous owners had put up some nice trellising for me. We do have some garlic. I have to walk all the way around. I had to put up, I don't know if you can sort of see that, but I've had to put up bird netting all the way around here because I have to keep my chickens out of here. The first year I thought it was so cute when they came over and helped me, dig up all worms and do some weeding in the garden. And 2 days later I came out here and they had obliterated my entire garden. So I was not happy. And so we had to put up this netting around there to keep the chickens out. This is going to be the only chicken-free place. I think this year we are going to be possibly building a run, because they are starting to be a problem with attacking my flowers, and I'm having a problem with the gardens. Anyway, so but these 2 beds, we just extended this year. I do have, this went straight over the grass. So underneath I do have landscape fabric, and then it's going to be a shallow for shallow vegetables here. Any of the root vegetables can go in here, which does not have any barrier on the bottom part of it. So actually, I'm going to show you what we're going to be planting today. We are planting. These are, I will be putting some marigolds in here. Look at this. I planted an entire flat of marigolds and like almost none of it came up. So I'll be putting a few marigolds in there just to sort of keep the bugs away from my plants. This is everything I grew. Okay, so these guys this is the Chinese cabbage, right? Oh, they're looking pretty bad right now. I don't even know if this is the Chinese cabbage. My aunt has a wonderful recipe for Chinese cabbage, and I've been trying to grow it, and look at it, it's already bolted. That's just being in the greenhouse, so I'm gonna have to plant some more seeds. Luckily, I have a ton of them. So I did plant some romaine. I think these guys are the eggplants. Yeah, these are the eggplant seeds that I grew. It's still itsy bitsy tiny things. I planted those like 5, 6, 7 weeks ago. Some of the lettuce is coming up now. And what is that? That's zucchini, I'm pretty sure. Come on. Zucchini, yeah. So the zucchini's on the end. They're still in their little jiffy pots because I just didn't have enough room in the greenhouse to upsize them. Did any cucumbers grow? Yeah, there's a cucumber right there. Yeah. And we have a few of this tomato seeds that I grew. I grew the Brandywine, the super sweet and sweetie ones, which are just like the little grape-sized tomatoes. I wanted a few of those this year, and Roma tomatoes. I use Roma tomatoes a lot because I make a heck of a lot of tomato soup. Tomato soup is one of my favorite things. I am a connoisseur of tomato soup. I cannot stand, most restaurants can't do it properly. And I found a fantastic recipe, last 2 years ago, and everybody goes crazy for it. Some of the tomatoes that I had grown, I did manage to upsize some of the pots. So they are growing pretty well here. So they're all the same thing, the super sweet and the Brandywine. And then here's my strawberries. All the ones, if you saw my strawberry video, which I planted these guys up in the towers, the one that fell over, it broke a whole bunch of pots, so I didn't have room for all of my strawberries in those little pots, so I had to put them into these guys. And they, I gotta tell you, I left them in there too long. I don't know if it got too hot in the greenhouse or I've just left them in these pots too long. But some of them are not happy. Yes, quite a few of these are just dead. So we'll take those guys out. Yeah, they all started growing really well, and then they all kind of stunted at some point. But as I said, I've been trying to get stuff out, but the weather was not cooperating this year. So that's what I have that I've grown from seed. And we do have more of the strawberry pots. I'm gonna grow these inside the netted area. For the beginning part, just so that chickens stay away from those too. I'm worried that they're gonna eat out my tomatoes, or my strawberries. And then here, this is what the nursery owner he actually came to our farm and dropped it off today. He was loving it. He came on the farm and he's like, oh my gosh, this is fantastic. He's like, I don't want any money for these plants, just give me let me do some fishing here on the property. So we're really good at bartering out things like that for, if somebody's got something that we need, we always say, do you like to fish? And pretty much everybody here in Kentucky says yes. So, I just noticed he gave me some, lovely, some melons as well. Some cantaloupes, sorry. Perfect, I did, this is great. Some sugar babies. Why didn't I see these before? When he was unloading them, great. So he has given us some yellow crookneck squash. I do eat a lot of that. Yeah, the melons, sugar baby, watermelons, okra. Ooh, lovely. What's this one? Dixie Queen watermelon. Lovely. Love having some more. Crimson sweet. What else has he put in here? He just made a choice at his nursery and brought them over. So this is more okra, fantastic. He brought us some peppers. Now, unfortunately, I don't love hot peppers, so he brought us some sweet banana peppers. He bought us some ghost peppers, which I definitely will not be having those because somebody else can eat those guys. I'll be giving those away as gifts or something. I'm not a big spicy lover. We have California Wonder peppers. He also put there's some other guys in here, varieties. Golden California Wonder. We have some tomatoes. We have some ox hearts, which I've never had ox hearts. Here we are. Some ox hearts that I've never had those before. I've never grown them before, so this will be fun. I have grown some celebrity ones in Las Vegas, and they did not grow so well. They are very difficult to keep well watered in Las Vegas.
And let's see what these guys are. King Arthur peppers and jalapeno peppers. What else? Sweet bananas. No, there was a few else in there. We have some cucumbers, some, what else here? Eggplants, good, which I needed some because mine weren't looking so good. This is a habanero pepper. These guys are hot banana peppers. Yeah, the ghost pepper right here. Yeah, I don't know about that one. Not for me anyway. And then what else do we have? Yeah, some more. I think that's a big boy tomatoes. He brought us some golden jubilees, some ruckers, some mortgage lifters. Better boy. I think these guys are all better boys, yeah. And some beefsteaks, old German, and I think some Romas as well. Oh, and some grape tomatoes. See those back there? That's great. That's a wonderful selection. I'm perfect. I'm very, very happy with that. So we are going to get all of these into the ground. And I'm just going to set up a camera and you guys can watch. And also look at all the garlic, how the garlic's doing. This is really nice. I planted 125 very late. I think it was like middle of December that I planted these guys. And they are all coming up beautifully. So hopefully by July 1st or so, these guys will hopefully have been yellowed back, and I will pick those and I'll plant something else in that place. All right, great. Let's get started. So I'm going to start off with strawberries, and I did have some extra peat moss that I added to the soil right here. The strawberries are going to be the only part of this garden that is actually a perennial vegetable. Everything else can be completely cleaned out. I can, cover this the rest of the garden in the wintertime with black plastic in case if the weeds start coming up like gangbusters again. So, but this small area here right on the edge is going to be the only place that actually has vegetables that will be growing again and again. And I use a lot of strawberries and a lot of blueberries at the bed and breakfast, so I do want some that's a little bit closer to the kitchen. I don't have to run all the way back to the back 40 garden if first thing in the morning if I don't want to. Anyway, these guys have been fertilized quite a bit, so I'll put a little bit of fertilizer in the ground with them, but probably not as much as what I normally would. So this is just a tomato and vegetable fertilizer. It's a 6-10-6 fertilizer. All right. And I'm also going to make a little area, probably, you know what, I'm going to start off a little bit closer to the edge here, just so I have a bit of an area to walk around the edge of the garden if I need to. I have to say, I love the fact that I used all these solo cups to plant, first big weed. These solo cups that I upsized the Jiffy pots from. Okay, that's probably planting in horse manure. This has been composting probably for about, I'm gonna say 8 years or so, maybe 6 years maybe. We've been here for 2.5 years, and the previous owner, they were here, they had horses here. It was foreclosed for 4 years before that, and then they were here before that. So anyway, it's nice aged manure. I know how strawberries like to spread, so I'm gonna have plenty of room in between these guys, so these will fill up into nice big rows, and I will try my best to keep them in the rows. But as anybody who's planted strawberries before knows, that's not the easiest of tasks. So I got 3 rows of these strawberries planted. I was also going to mention the varieties that I bought. I bought Ozark Beauty strawberries, All Stars, and Sequoia strawberries. Now some of those, they do bloom at different times, and my original intention was to have 1 tower of each of these strawberries, so I actually knew which variety was which. But after that strawberry tower fell over, and my my little seedling cups, they blew over numerous times. A chicken would get into the greenhouse every once in a while, and he would knock all the little plants over. So at the end, I had no idea which is which. So this whole patch is just going to be a big blend of different types of strawberries. I think I'll be, picking these probably from, May through July. And maybe, I think some of these guys, are they ever bearing as well? I have to look that up. Anyway, I'll put some information on those varieties, but I chose those varieties specifically because they would last a long time throughout the summer. And I need that, especially because, as I said, I serve a lot of strawberry dishes at the bed and breakfast. So I also wanted to say, here is the very first strawberry. Okay, well, here's a very demented one that's all rotted. And then this one, he's looking okay. But I'm gonna have the very first strawberry of the season. Okay, that was overripe and it was not good. Anyway, but there's a lot more to come. I'm gonna pick this guy off too, so they get a few more. But there's quite a few that have berries on them. When I first planted these guys, as you remember, I planted them from bare root, and I wasn't sure if a lot of them were gonna live, and almost all of them lived. They grew like crazy. For the first 2-3 weeks, they all sprouted up and they looked fantastic, and then they all went into into stalemate, like it's nothing, just stagnant growth, barely anything. And I think that's because I had them in the greenhouse for a little bit too long, and the fact that the season didn't start, so these should have been out a month ago. Last year on April 15th, I was planting outside, and we did not have a freeze after that. This year on, was it May 12th, 13th, whatever it was, so we had that great big frost. So anyway, I think they stagnated because they were inside too long. But let's hope they start to flourish being outside now. And I'm gonna start planting these things. I have these bendy hoops, I guess. Wire hoops. That's what I am going to be growing my cucumbers up. So I'm going to plant those next. Okay, so I finished up some cucumbers. I have it didn't actually say a variety of cucumbers on these guys. But there's cucumbers there. One of the pots had two seedlings. Two of the pots had two seedlings in it, so I just planted them like that. These guys too. And then these guys over here. So those are regular cucumbers for like salads. I make a lot of tomato and cucumber salad because I don't love lettuce. I'm very particular with the lettuces that I eat. I just find them too bland and tasteless. These guys are pickling cucumbers, and that's one thing I did want to try this year was pickling. Pickling. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I may end up trimming out one of these guys if they start to take over. But I'm going to see what the growth habit is. If I have to take one out, then one of these little doubles, then great. If I have to transplant one over there because it doesn't survive, then so be it. Better more than less. Okay, I have planted all my tomatoes now. So the first 2 rows here will be tomatoes. So I planted a few different varieties. I've planted them really close together, so I'm going to have to prune these back really bad when they do start to take. So the first one here is a Roma. Then we have a Celebrity. We have a beefsteak, we have a super sweet, we have a super sweet, we have a sweetie, we have a sweetie. So those 4 are all cherry tomatoes. Those ones are bigger tomatoes in the Roma. We have another brandy wine. We have an old German, which is going to be a really nice kind of it's like a mottled color. And I think that'd be really nice on the plates as an accent for the bed and breakfast. We have an oxbow. We have a Better Boy, we have another Roma, and another Roma. I do grow, as I said, I grow a lot of the Romas for the tomato soup that I make. Anyway, next up on the end there, I'm going to be planting some peas and some, what else? And then past that, probably do the eggplants, and I'll get to work on that. Okay, I'm finally finished the entire garden. Pretty much the entire garden. These are leftover flats of some lettuce and romaine and the Chinese cabbage that I may be able to plant out somewhere else. And then I've got some leftover peppers that I need to plant up in bigger pots. And all of those, walk around the side here. All of the leftover flats that I have there are going out in the back 40 garden. So that's everything I couldn't plant. So, but I'll give you a little idea of what we have here. So I planted, there's 3 zucchinis, and I planted some marigolds in between them just to attract aphids and other bad insects that might attack them. One of the cucumbers I actually replaced with the one that I grew personally, which is a burpless cucumber. And I've wanted to try this because I know that the cucumbers that I grew last year were very bitter. Because I picked them too late, they were too big. But the burpless ones are supposed to not turn bitter. So I want to compare that one to the regular cucumbers that this guy gave us today to see if it makes a difference or not. Anyway, so these are regular cucumbers, and they will grow up these trellises. So I planted one on each side. Let's straighten that one out. I've got all the strawberries over here. Where is it? 1, 2, 3, 4 peppers. And then along that line right there, I planted a bunch of peas. I've got 1, 2, 3 eggplants. And what else? Oh, I also decided to plant, I have tried every single year to grow the rhubarb here. And I grow it from a little, rootstock thing that I get over at Lowe's. And then I put it out in the back garden when it's doing well, and then I lose it. It usually lasts for like a month or two, but then it always gets too dry at the end of the season and it dies out. It doesn't have a strong enough root. So I decided this year I'm going to plant this one here in this garden. I monitor this garden a lot closer because our house is very close by. This is our kitchen garden. So I can actually monitor the watering on this, and we actually have watering to this garden. The back 40 garden has no water to it. If I decide to water it, I can plug a hose into one of the horse waters that's in one of the pastures, and then take like 3 or 4 hoses connected together and go and water the garden if I really needed to. And what else? I think that's pretty much it. Oh, I did plant in between these 2 trellis things. I planted a bunch of carrots. I don't know if they were from the dollar store. I just planted the whole package just to see if they pop up or not. I have had 0 luck with carrots. Every time I plant them, I get 2 or 3 out of 100 or 200 that I plant. So we'll see if it happens. It's probably getting a little warm for them now, but we'll see what happens. And also here just in a little bit of the middle, I planted some Chinese cabbage there as well. But now that I'm thinking about it, it's going to be too late. So I may plant the little seedlings that I have and see if I can get them to stop bolting. See if that works or not, because this will provide a lot of shade for them, and so they may do a little better. Right now it's pretty late in the day, so this is our sunset view of the garden. Anyway, then yeah, this is our day is really cleared up beautifully. Over there there was a horrible storm coming. And we just sprayed we tried to get a few hours in to spray some of our buttercups in our horse pastures. They are rampant this year, and we can't get to spray it because it just keeps on raining and raining and raining, and there's not enough time to have 24 hours dry. So, and also this is a little crabapple tree that we planted. I put this kind of right by my daughter's playground. So hopefully when it grows up, well, then again, she's going to be grown up by the time that this grows up. So that playground will probably be gone by that time. But still, I thought it'd be kind of nice for her to have a nice little flowering tree beside her playground. So this is what we got so far here. Anyway, it was great to see you guys, and thanks so much for watching. Bye.